Hey guys, welcome back to Indie Game Hustle. I'm going to block out this environment and briefly talk about having a workflow when creating your game assets in Unity. When creating your 3D assets for a game engine like Unity, there's so many ways to approach this process. In most cases, you would start with a concept and plan it. You can mood board your images, you can have some sketches to help define the art style or your visual goal. You can gather these into a software like bref, which is a simple reference image viewer that makes it pretty easy for you to see what you plan to make. I can't really remember how I found this app, but I am glad I did. It's free and it's easy to use. You can just drag images into this space like this, and then you can save this set of images as a bref file type. It's really great place to gather all of your ideas. I'll post a link in the description for you to check it out. There's tutorials where you can follow how to use it, but it's actually pretty easy to use, so don't worry about it too much. After gathering your ideas, you can move on to modeling. You've heard me say it before that blocking out your scene or your single object is probably the best way to get started without committing to the object itself. For some workflows, you may go Blender straight to Unity for your blockout, but you can also use Unity before even thinking of using another software. Staying in Unity is great because you can focus on scale and level layout before getting into any details. The scene in the background here isn't really a level design, but a blockout of a concept. But the way I approach Unity scenes, I would probably have a character enter doors and a new scene will load. There are tons of great level design specific videos out there for like action games and first person shooters. I'll probably gather a list of them and post it for your reference. But for blocking out in Unity, you can use Unity Cubes, Unity Pro Builder, or UModeler. I typically use a mix of UModeler and the Unity Cubes. Cubes and UModeler allow me to block out the space and then start modeling the details right in the same scene without moving to something like a Blender or a Maya. Most of my modeling is low poly, but if you need to sculpt, then you can still export the mesh to Blender or ZBrush if needed using Unity's FBX export. But if you don't do the whole sculpting objects thing, then you can stay in Unity completely. UModeler gives you the ability to block out, add details to the object, UV, unwrap your object, apply textures, and paint. I'm definitely a pro UModeler person for sure, but I really do use it and I like it. If you're using Blender, then I say you can keep using it. And just use UModeler in Unity if you need to make adjustments to the object without needing to leave Unity. Some great tools that are built in are the pivot tool, because how many times have you needed to adjust the pivot point of an object right in Unity, but you would need to export it again just to do that? UModeler has that built in. You can also quickly decimate an object and remesh your AI assets right in UModeler too. So yeah, there's some cool, easy to use tools that make life easier. When using AI tools like Meshy.ai, you can do some additional editing on your mesh too, right inside Unity using UModeler, like decimation to reduce the poly count of the object while still keeping like the UVs and the textures in place. You should also check out the painting layers feature tool. This will help you add some variation to repeated objects when a color change is all that is needed. Using UModeler in your workflow is easy because it doesn't really require you to change what you're already doing. It's really just an assistant to what you already have. Pretty much, it's like having a utility belt with a bunch of gadgets for certain situations. Well, I really don't want this video to get too long, but figuring out your approach to asset creation is a personal choice with best practices. Gray blocking is one of those things that are just good for the creative process and help you save money. Imagine buying a bunch of assets from an environment you plan to make. You then start to block out the level and you decide to change the art style. So basically, you didn't buy the proper objects for that space, thus spending more money. You should block out, then model, then buy your assets. Then use UModeler for editing the asset even further to make it uniquely yours. This saves you so much more time in the long run. I hope this chat helps you on your journey. I'm looking forward to playing with more AI tools like Meshy and others. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and tell me, what AI tools are you using in your process? Are you using Meshy.ai, Triple, or something like Comfy UI? Leave your answers in the comments section. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.